right, so I got to warn everybody of something really quick. There's about 15 people in this room that have talked of some level of disruption of this presentation. So if anything goes wrong, it was premeditated sabotage. Very similar to Chris Patterson's donation on Sunday, just for the record. So real quick, there's this word that goes around in our industry a lot, right? And I was unfortunately looking at the calendar and realized that on October 8th I turned 30, which scares the crap out of me. But it also means that for 15 years now, I've heard people at conferences, business leaders, several people talk about the T word, turnover. And it's always about decreasing it, right? How do we decrease it? Why is it always getting higher? What's the problem? How do we fix what we do in our operation? But I don't think it's that simple. And I think there's a difference that we should start thinking about, which is not simply how do we decrease it, but how do we actually enhance the experience for the team member. So thanks to TD2NK, I mean, they have a lot of stats that just came out, and I did steal this at the hospitality suite when she wasn't looking, but it's funny because it seems like things don't ever really get that much better. As you can see, some sections are all the way up to 160, and some are everyone's above 100, right? Yes, people stuck around a little bit longer back when we had the recession. People wanted to stay comfortable. They didn't want to lose their jobs. Got it. But in general, we talk about this a lot, okay? And same thing when it comes down to actual turnover within a short time frame. As you can see, 38% of front of house, 39, sorry, I am blind, 42% of back of house. They all have left their jobs in the first 90 days, and there's a lot of management who has left, 35% has left in the first year, right? Okay, so we see that, and we hear it a lot. But the question becomes, how do we change our mindset to actually have different level of results? And that's what I'm going to talk about today, is I think we have to shift that mindset to get to somewhere where we are more open to it, and we are more comfortable investing in people regardless if they're going to be leaving us or not, okay? Now, for the millennials who I lost like 20 seconds ago, what I'm trying to say is that you got to stop thinking of turnover like this and shift your mindset to more like this, okay? It's where we begin to actually embrace turnover. I'm going to leave that one up there short just in case people got offended. But, so what I mean by embrace is not literally say, hey, let's just continue to let turnover get bad. No. How do we embrace it, though, and say, hey, regardless if you leave here in 30 days, a year, whatever that may be, I'm going to invest all my time, energy, and effort into you as a person to help you succeed in your career. Basically trying to say, how do we leave somebody better than how we found them, regardless of their tenure with us? However, I do believe that if we have that mindset versus the mindset today that some people have, where you literally say, oh my gosh, it's summertime, I got to hire these people, they're going to be gone in 3 months, right? With that mentality, do you really think you're actually putting everything into that person? Probably not. You're probably saying, they'll be gone soon. But if we shift that, I believe that turnover will start to decrease on its own because of us giving so much effort into other people. They may realize that, wow, this is the company that I actually want to work for and grow with. So real quick, a little bit about me. My name's Kendall Ware, the Vice President of Education and Achievement at Remarkable Brands. We have 4 franchise companies that we own and operate. And recently we went through a whole new formation where we wanted to start being this incubator for small franchise brands and literally apply all of our infrastructure, resources, knowledge, experience to help other brands grow, and that's what we're working on now. We have roughly 300 locations total out of the 4 brands that you see represented, and several more opening up this year and next, and so on and so forth. But as we went through this process of Remarkable Brands, we said, what is it about us that is going to be remarkable? What do we want to be known for? And the answer to that was developing people. How do we develop people in their personal and professional lives to help them succeed into the future? And so we went through this whole mantra. We even created one of our concepts called Purpose Snackery, which is literally just that. It's all about having a purpose beyond profit and helping other people get what they need. And our purpose in that concept specifically is to help other people find theirs. And so that's been the mindset through all this. And when we sat down and said, hey, how are we going to accomplish this, we realized we needed to have those tools to engage employees. We wanted to still have consistency across the franchise system, but not be as traditional as we all have been in the past. How do we open up the doors a little bit wider and say, you know what, let's have some collaboration within the field and not be so by-the-book standard, which is very dangerous, but to lead to that idea of having that purpose beyond profit and have that really show through all of our brands. So we also worked with some consulting companies and said, hey, you know, what do we want to accomplish? They helped us put it down to words. Thank you to McDonald's. Hopefully you're not in the room, but thank you for stealing our idea. We actually spent a year and a half behind the scenes talking about America's Best First Job and how does Remarkable Brands become that. And literally the day that I was going to share with Tara about what we're doing was the day that McDonald's launched their campaign about America's Best First Job. They have millions of campaign dollars. I don't. They went national. We didn't. Forget it. So I'm still working on a new name, but we had it first. So we went through that process, and a lot of buzzwords came out to say, hey, what do we want? What do we need to actually accomplish this, right? And so someone threw out a word of a pipeline, right? We need some sort of pipeline to reach all the people in our brand. Then we started thinking, well, not necessarily, because today it's not as easy as going to Marriott or Marriott coming to you and figuring out a hotel room. Now you have a lot of portals out there that are actually taking advantage of that and interfering with that one-on-one interaction. So we know there's tons of portals out there, so we said, well, everybody has a portal. How do we do something different than that? And so we started thinking about the big companies in the industry today that make a huge difference, and everyone always talks about. Everybody always talks about Chick-fil-A. Everybody always talks about Southwest. So we started wondering what is in common of those two brands. Platforms and culture is what came to mind. And by platform, they all have some sort of platform that releases that latent energy that is already existing. Any one of us in this room could have created Uber. Any one of us. We probably could have created it last night in the hospitality suite. But unfortunately, someone got to it before we did. Okay? But it's that latent energy. It's the ideas we already have. It's just about sitting down, finding the right tech, and figuring it out. So we wanted to focus on platform and culture and get to that point to where we could build that and have something that was easily understandable. So again, we looked at the big players in the game today. They all have that right tech. They all have that latent energy. And they literally have millions and billions of people who operate on their platforms. Now you have people literally renting out their houses to people online that they never met before, right? And you're comfortable enough to stay in their house. So there's a trend here. And what we said is, man, how cool would it be if we had like the Facebook of people development? What does that look like? We also, of course, we have LMS and all that. We have all those features, but we wanted something different in addition to that. So we started thinking like, man, if we could have a Facebook of people development, that would really change the game. So we started thinking about what was before Facebook. How did Facebook get to where they are? We had something called MySpace. Everybody remember MySpace? Okay? Top 8? Yeah. That was tough for some of us. But in MySpace back then, you had to go and click on the person you want to look at, and you had to go dissect and look for whatever you're looking for. You want to see pictures, you had to click pictures. You want to see videos, you had to hit videos. But you had to go hunt and peck for whatever you were looking for. And in my opinion, that's kind of where we are in our industry today, is that we have to go hunt and peck for what we want, right? When we're learning something, trying to find something on the internet, we're going and looking for all this stuff. So what if it came to you? Well, that's exactly what Facebook did. They said, let's bring all your friends down into one news feed, and you just scroll until your thumb falls off, and you see everybody's updates that are going on. And so that's the pathway we started to go down. And then on the culture side, we wanted to look at the two brands I mentioned and see what are they doing that's different. How are they actually creating a culture that people want to stick around for? My aunt actually has been at Southwest now for 22 years, which is just insane, right? You don't really hear that often these days. So we wanted to mimic some of this and start figuring out how can we actually create value versus extract value. There's a lot of companies that, not on purpose, actually do extract value from you by holding you back or not letting you share your creative, mindset. And the other challenge that we had is, without being in person with every single restaurant, every single person, how do you actually create this triangle of learning that we all need? You have to follow this triangle in order to actually, I guess, truly understand something and take it home with you. And so we said, okay, well, let's try to map this out. So we wanted to talk about learning. You have to receive value, obviously. When you receive value when you learn. We wanted to practice it to invest in ourselves, but then also invest in others by teaching it. But somehow keep that triangle in fluid motion through some sort of technology, right? Because, again, we can't be everywhere all the time. So with that, we came down to these three topics where we said we want to be able to serve, engage, and reach everybody in our organization, okay? And you can't just go buy a fancy new toy, put it out there, and expect people to actually use it. That's why most brands right now are actually failing in terms of loyalty, because they've all spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on loyalty apps, but the usage rate is so low that they don't get a return on investment on that, right? It's too hard to keep up with. So we said, all right, we're going to come up with this all-encompass one-stop shop where everything you need is single sign-on, and there's no reason that you should always have to go to the app to do your job, basically. There's no reason not to go to it. So I'm going to walk you guys through a little bit of that and how we got here, but going through all that whole process together, we came up with Remarkable Me. And Remarkable Me is truly a personal and professional leadership development app that is now the foundation of our brand, and it aligns with our foundation of wanting the best people in our organization. So I'm just going to go through a few screenshots of what this looks like to get the idea. But essentially, if you log in right now, which you could, any guest could do this as well, you're going to see things about your actual personal development, articles, connections with other authors, something we may have created, but it tells you the story about Remarkable Brands, what we do, what we believe in, but it also shares some development opportunities for you to take advantage of. With that, we've partnered with people like Dr. Henry Cloud, Randy Ross, and several other famous authors and speakers that are out there who are also investing in this platform with us and being a part of this movement. And so what that means is that they're actually championing the growth for others that they may have never even met. And the way we break it down in our app is you're one of two things. Actually, you're one of three things. You're either a champion, like Henry Cloud would be a champion of this app, and he's going to help champion your growth by sharing information with you, or you're going to be a mentor or mentee. And that's the easy version. We actually call it a grower or a growee. That's more internal conversation. But you're a grower or a growee to help others in that app. Now, you can be both, obviously. But it's not as easy as just logging in to look at stuff. You actually have a process you follow along with. And there's people like this who actually invest their time to help mentor you along the way. And it's very complex, and I can't do it all in 10 minutes. But I'm happy to share a lot more information about this. But again, we're trying to go down something that's never been done before. And I think we're getting close. But if you look at this, there's all kinds of other articles and things that get shared. But when you actually go to the app, you'll notice that our logos are down there at the bottom. And that's where team members actually log in to get onboarded. So if you're a team member, you download the app, you'd go in here, you'd get an invite code from your franchisee, your boss, whoever, and you insert that code, and it'll take you to the appropriate brand that you represent. So let's just say that we're talking about Orange Leaf. I enter my Orange Leaf code. Now it's brand specific to that brand, and it's all about Orange Leaf content. However, anybody can push content onto someone's news feed, and within this app, you have a news feed just like Facebook to where other managers, franchisees, myself, anybody can share content, and you can see it all day long, just like on Facebook. But as you can see, you see things on Wow Service, how to make the new smoothie programs. There's also some information on our new marketing efforts that are going out, our recorded webinars that happen every single month, a toolkit for operators. There's just a lot of information we plug in here, and it's all created in the app. So we don't have to spend that much effort, and most of the time I'm on an airplane creating this stuff and just sending it down. Okay, and so I don't have to worry about different programs or getting on a desktop. It's just all built within the mobile platform. So you can be very quick and direct, and you don't have to really plan out or waste too much time doing it. But when I mentioned earlier that we had to come up with something else to make it stick, we told the system that this is not where you're going to go to just get Orange Leaf related content. You're going to go here to get things that a 16-year-old could learn that they probably won't be able to learn until they get to college or have their first career. For example, the first thing we created before anything brand specific was how to understand a P&L, how to calculate food costs, how to create a LinkedIn profile, how to create a resume, things that people just don't have. And the majority of our team members are between 16 and 18 years old. So again, going back to that mindset of how do we add value, we wanted to add value to them in ways that they couldn't get anywhere else. So now they're going home to mom and dad and talking about all the stuff they're learning. And what's funny is mom and dad may actually be learning at the same time with them on this stuff. I can't tell you how many franchisees we have, and I'm being respectful, but a lot of franchisees who come into a brand don't know how to calculate food costs. They don't know how to read a P&L, and they may not even have one. So we got to start somewhere to start changing that mindset. So to make it a one-stop shop, we integrated with our POS. So all your sales data, labor data, anything you can think of is also in this platform. So again, more reasons to go to it to help people stay engaged. We also have like test and exception processes where you can put it in a request for a test item, or you're in a state that can't do a certain menu item, or you want to change a button on your POS. We try to, again, come up with more ways to use it. We also integrated our guest experience review, which is our store audit form. It's all focused on the guest experience side of things, but also brand protection side of things. But again, all digital, all fluid. You bring it up, you can audit any one of your stores. You can also see the results of your field people doing your GERs. But again, it's all encompassed into one platform. And in Q4, we're actually integrating with ServeSafe. And we're going to be having their platform within ours. So that way, it's a one-stop shop. So you want to get ServeSafe certified, you come to this app, and it's all one fluid motion. So I threw a lot out there just to get a quick snapshot of what this app is all about. But here's the actual journey that I'm going to share with you of how it works. And it actually is geared more towards the community, not necessarily just people who work in the brands. So we'll take Sarah as an example. I'm just going to walk through a basic journey with her. But so this is an outline of all the people within a restaurant or your own personal network of friends. But let's say that you have a franchisee like Mike, and he's the store owner, he's the day-to-day guy. He goes and hires Sarah. When Sarah comes on board and she gets that code to get in, she's actually allowed to invite anybody, there's no cost, but she can invite anybody she wants, whether that's friends, family, whoever, to come into this network of leadership development as well. And they can create their own content. they can actually co-author content that authors have approved us to use. For example, Dr. Randy Ross has approved content to where we can actually get in there and edit some of his pieces that he has to fit our brand. So it's a co-author tool that we have built in this app as well. But take all the orange leaf and brand stuff out of this. They can have their own network of sharing, whether that's certifications in a certain area, whether someone's struggling with something personal and they want to take a course on that. But it's so much more than just an operational app, right, or a learning app. So she can invite anybody she wants, same with anybody else on this platform, and it continues to go on and on and on, and they have their own feed to follow and follow each other around. Now, if Sarah ever leaves our brand, we have it set up to where, again, linked to the POS, if she ever gets terminated or leaves on her own, she will still always have access to this platform for free for the rest of her life or for the rest of the time that we have it. And nothing ever goes away. So if she's paid for content, which is a lot of content in here that you can actually pay for in the app, and there's also a lot of free content, there's certifications, there's awards, all that stuff travels with Sarah no matter where she goes. But she'll never be able to add another person into it unless they are represented with one of our brands. And then after that's done, again, as more people come on board, you can continue to add, but you never have to necessarily worry about losing any content you had. So imagine all the accomplishments from high school or college that you had, but it's all in one location that you never lose access to. So a little confusing, but there's a lot more to this, and I'll just say this, that we feel like this is literally that pathway we need to get where we want to go. But in the book Remarkable that Randy Ross actually wrote, and we base our company's principles off this book, he says that one of the most difficult jobs of a leader is to focus on, or shift the mindset of focusing on, instead of focusing on making $1, focus on making a difference. And the companies that can make a difference will make dollars. And we believe that Remarkable Me is our platform to actually make that difference in today's youth. And as a takeaway for you all, because this is a short time to cram this in, I actually will invite you all to come into our platform for free, and you guys can come in there and check out what we have done so far. So if you go to your app store, you can download Remarkable Me. And when you get in there, you enter Chart 2017, and that's going to give you access to what we have created today from a leadership development standpoint, not brand specific. But it's actually our own little space within this app where we can talk and share ideas and ask questions if we would like to, because I'm looking for feedback, and I want to see what you guys think about this and how we can make it the best thing out there. So thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it.